cristiane a Mosul, Iraq, e in altre parti del Medio Oriente, dove esse, sin dall'inizio del cristianesimo, hanno vissuto con i loro concittadini, offrendo un significativo contributo al bene della società. Oggi sono perseguitati. I nostri fratelli sono perseguitati, sono cacciati via.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Joining us now is Bill Donohue, Newsmax contributor and president of the Catholic League. Good to see you, sir.
How you doing, Steve?
I'm good. Okay, so the Pope on Sunday expressing outrage at what's going on in Iraq, not only against Christians, but against other minorities. He spoke out the other day as well. You and I have talked about this for so many months and even years, the persecution against Christians specifically around the world, and I guess it's taken this to bring it to the fore, what's going on in Iraq right now.
Well, I'm so happy that the Holy Father got very pointed. Now, people have to understand, popes generally don't get too pointed in these kinds of things. They generally speak in generalities. But what he's saying is this: this is a monstrosity being done in the name of God. Now, we know what religion he's talking about here. He's not condemning all Muslims, obviously, any more than you and I would. But there's something sick going on in the world, and he's saying to kill in the name of God is what's really wrong here. Now, I expect atheist countries and those people like Hitler and Stalin and Pol Pot and Mao, who hated people of faith, I expect them to kill without remorse, that they're shameless, and they do it with alacrity. But when you have people killing in the name of God, we always had crazy Christians and crazy Jews who may go out there and say, I'm killing in the name of God. We know they don't represent most Christians and Jews. Right. Unfortunately, what we have going on there, and I'm not saying most Muslims are this way, but it's a very serious stage. But there are some signs of progress. And I'll commend the president for what he's done in the last couple of days. I only wish he would have done it earlier.
Right, I know, absolutely. And of course, there were those, we had Congressman Peter King on Friday, and he said, why limit this? Although we are helping the Kurds, and we'll get to that in a second. But why make your stated purpose if any of these ISIS people get close to our interests or our people or our embassies, we'll hit the convoys. Why not just hit every convoy, every ISIS facility you could find and destroy them? Because you know what their stated goal is. You've seen what they've done so far. You know the caliphate they're creating. If you're going to use airstrikes, wipe them out wherever you see them.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, this president's natural step is not to get engaged in war. I don't want war either, right. But sometimes the only way you bring the peace is through war. This is the most maniacal threat to the democracies I have seen since Nazi Germany and since the days of Stalin and Mao and Pol Pot in the 1970s. And to think that we can do this on the cheap, or to say we're going to limit the strikes. No, we are faced with an unbelievable threat, so much so that even those nations which are typically critical of Israel are not saying much about Israel fighting back against Hamas. They know that these people who are considered to be, Al-Qaeda was too mild for these people. What does that tell you? These people are off the charts, and quite frankly, they need to be crushed. So I don't want to hear any talks about limiting things. You certainly limit the collateral damage to innocent people, but you've got to go after these people. Otherwise, there's only going to be one winner. This idea that there can be two winners in war is child talk. There can be only one winner, and if the democracies don't win and Western Europe doesn't stand with Israel and the United States, then we're going to be in big trouble down the road.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, I harken back to the president. How could you sit in the face of Christians and other minorities and other minority communities being, we're talking about heads of children being put on poles. Of course, there are no pictures of this. I doubt the media would show it if they had it, but there are no pictures of this like there was in the Gaza Strip every 2 seconds. But heads being cut up, kids being decapitated, their heads being put on poles outside what they call a park, and saying, well, we're only going to bomb ISIS if they come near us. I mean, near our people. Well, what about, dropping the food on the mountain in the scorching heat where these people are dying anyway isn't enough.
I know. Catholic Online has actually done a pretty good job of showing some of this stuff with the viewer warning on this. But you're absolutely right. When you behead children, I mean, what have we come to? I don't know what to say. But I'll tell you one thing, though. There are some important signs here. And Saudi Arabia is worried about what's going
Absolutely.
on. And the United Arab Emirates. And yes, exactly. Egypt, I commend them for really going out to try and crush the Muslim Brotherhood. So there are important signs of what's going on
over the weekend,
here.
by the way, they declared them totally outlawed.
That's
They're
right.
gone. Yeah.
No, and freeze their assets and the like.
Yep.
No, I think maybe we're at a tipping point, finally, where people of goodwill in Israel and the United States and in Western Europe will finally say enough is enough, because you can't win through dialogue with people who take off the heads of children.
You know what it might take? You know what, ironically enough, it might take? And we've talked about, only Obama could bring together, the Saudis and the Israelis against Iran. Well, maybe it'll take a coalition of Jordanian military, Saudi military, Israeli military. I wish they'd do it tomorrow. Go bomb the daylights out of these ISIS troops or whatever they are, the terrorists, wherever you see them. I mean, now.
Well, unfortunately, our president is out playing golf again in Martha's Vineyard, which I can't understand. I can't even begin to understand this.
He didn't even wait. After he gave that speech on the weekend, he was an hour later, he's there.
It's absolutely astonishing to me. This is an unbelievable threat, and he has time for more parties. But look, at least we've got some action going.
Yeah.
The Kurds are our only friends over there besides the Israelis.
Right, and they took 2 northern towns back from ISIS today, and we're giving them now, supposedly, we're giving them the arms that they so desperately need and have been asking for.
Right, and I don't understand the idea that we have to wait for ISIS to be a further threat to our embassy in order to act. We know what they stand for. We know what they say. We know what they've been pledging to do. We know what they've been doing.
They want the ISIS flag flying over the White House.
Absolutely.
They're telling us.
Sharia law everywhere. That's what they want. They're very open about it. But listen, we have the resources. There's no question we have the resources. Do we have the will? I don't know the answer to that.
I think most of it, I'm not a military guy, but so much damage to them could be done from the air, I would think. I don't know how many boots on the ground we would need. I'm not advocating that, but you know what? Let the Saudis, let the Israelis, let the countries in direct threat and the regimes in direct threat, and not Israel's not a regime, the others, let them put boots on the ground and use area forces and do it. The world should be behind such action.
And I think it's a very delicate situation here. I'm somewhat sympathetic to the Obama administration. How do you deal with Maliki? We know he's the wrong man there.
Yeah.
But how do you make that transition?
Well, he's not going.
No, at least Kerry's over there trying to do something, and he's not on the golf course as far as I know.
That's true, but he might be water skiing soon. You never know. Thank you, Bill. Great to see you. Bill Donohue, ladies and gentlemen, president of the Catholic League and Newsmax contributor. And boy, very, very a topic that we'll be talking about for quite some time. We'll be back with more of the Steve Malzberg Show after the break. But first, stay tuned for your Newsmax Now update.